it's Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church with another Proverbs Practical. I appreciate you watching. Our last video observed that priorities and importance shift for us as we age. In different stages of life, we prioritize different things. This next verse speaks of how sometimes things that are hard for us or hard on us can be good for us. Verse 30 of Proverbs 20. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30. The blueness of a wound cleanseth away evil, so do stripes the inward parts of the belly. Well, as for the first phrase of the verse, commentators are a little divided about what exactly it signifies, the blueness of the wound cleansing away evil. I've heard it suggested that it speaks of bruising, like from discipline. Some seem to think that it refers to cutting away diseased flesh, like gangrene. Others think that the word literally speaks of joining and being knit together, and so that it's talking about drawing together the edges of a wound, possibly for sutures. All of it really boils down to the same thing, though. As someone who has had both flesh removed and had flesh stitched together, I can say that neither process is particularly enjoyable or pleasant in itself. They're both painful and uncomfortable, and sometimes necessary for health and recovery. This speaks of the process cleansing away evil, or getting rid of bad outcomes or disastrous processes. An awful lot of medicine tastes bad going down, but its effects can lift us back up again. A lot of treatments and therapies hurt, but they also bring healing. I've said many times that when the Inquisition went out of business, all the torturers went into physical therapy. But as we come to the second part of the verse, we're getting a parallel. It speaks of stripes. It says, so do stripes the inward part of the belly. So it's talking about a beating, like with a rod or a whip, something that strikes so hard that it leaves a line, a mark across the person being struck. So this is talking about serious physical discipline. And this can be good for a person too, discipline. But it's not good in a physical, external sense. It's good in an internal, moral, or spiritual sense. There are some people who do wrong, but with the proper discipline, consequences, chastening, they would stop that wrong. They might be turned from it in light of the consequences for it. This is why children need discipline, because they can often have their course changed with a much lighter course adjustment than those who are older. And we learn from consequences, outcomes. We see patterns. We say, I do this, this happens. If I do this, that was bad. I don't want that to happen again. And we learn from that. And that's why justice systems tend to be punitive. The consequences of an act serve to teach a lesson about that act, both to the person who commits it and potentially to those who observe it. This is why it's not always best to shield someone from the consequences of their actions. Sometimes surface mercy is not a favor, any more than refusing to treat a wound because the treatment is uncomfortable is a favor. Of course, Proverbs has made it clear that the truly wise person doesn't need this process. They'll learn from the mistakes of others rather than making them themselves. They'll listen to the counsel of those who would guide them right, so they aren't morally and spiritually sick or wounded in the first place. And Proverbs speaks of scorners who won't be helped, no matter what discipline is brought upon them. But there is a vast gulf between those who are so wise they scarcely need external discipline, and those who are so foolish that the discipline won't help them. Most of humanity lives between those two extremes. Most of us live between those two extremes. In God's eyes, every one of His children needs chastening at some point. But Solomon isn't just speaking of the actions of God here. He's speaking of the oversight and chastening of people. Most of us, at some point, benefit from external authorities that we answer to and actual consequences for the things we do wrong, so that we learn from them and change because of it. Our souls become healthier through righteous discipline, just as our bodies become healthier through good medical treatment. So let's not reject accountability and authority. Let's rather embrace it and the health it can help us achieve. Now, I hope this video is a blessing to you. If so, give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like it. We'd love to hear from you in the comments, especially if you've got something you'd like us to pray for you for, or a question about the scriptures we could answer. And we'd love to see you in person here at Dexter Gospel Church. Until next time, I hope you stay well and live a disciplined life.